In 1995, a couple were driving through Boone County, West Virginia, and off in the distance, they spotted a large white animal sitting in the ditch alongside the roadway. It was a huge creature, and strangely, it didn't look like any other type of animal they had ever seen. For some reason, the couple would stop their car and get a closer look, but unexpectedly, the creature jumped out of the ditch and aggressively ran toward the car. It began attacking the car, trying to get the couple, and luckily, the frightened couple turned on the car and sped away. As they got home, they found scratches along their car, and little did they know they had been attacked by one of West Virginia's most popular cryptids, the Sheepsquatch. As strange and as mythological as this creature sounds, surprisingly, there have been a good number of modern sightings of the Sheepsquatch. Often referred to as the white thing, the Sheepsquatch is generally described as being a large, bear-like creature with 4 feet, but capable of standing on 2 legs. It's about the same size as a bear, but uniquely different in that it possesses a pair of horns similar to a goat. The animal is said to have a tail that is hairless, and multiple witnesses have said the monster stinks like sulfur. Witness accounts do vary, with some saying its legs are similar to a man's. In 1994, 1 year before the couple spotted the creature on the road in a ditch, there were multiple sightings of the monster. One was from a group of women driving home from a family reunion near West Virginia's TNT area, the same area the Mothman is said to have been seen. These women were driving on an icy road, and there they witnessed a large creature coming out of the forest. The witnesses, who were driving slowly due to the ice, got a good look at it. They described it as being between 7 and 8 feet tall, covered with long, shaggy white hair, and a head with a pointed snout and ram-like horns. According to the women, the Sheepsquatch froze momentarily in their headlights before fleeing into the darkness. Another story from that same year would be from a former Navy seaman. He stated he witnessed the white beast roaming through the forest. It approached a creek and knelt to drink from it. It drank for a few minutes, then crossed the creek and continued on. The seaman would keep following the creature until it vanished into the woods. That same year, 2 children witnessed the creature while playing in their yard in Boone County. They saw a massive creature on all 4s. It then stood on its hind legs, reaching a height over 6 feet. The beast allegedly didn't see the children at first, and when it and the children locked eyes, the Sheepsquatch took off into the woods. In 1999, another sighting would occur. This involved a group of campers in Boone County as well. A bonfire had been lit, and as the campers were talking, they heard rustling in the nearby dark bushes. It's reported that the animal sounded angry and threatened, but stayed in the darkness. The Sheepsquatch then ran out, and the terrified campers took off running all the way home as the Sheepsquatch pursued them. As the campers left the forest, the Sheepsquatch refused to follow, and it let out a horrific scream. Many say the animal was mock charging here. Mock charging is common behavior in animals. For example, elephants mock charge quite often. They pretend to charge, but actually, they are testing out something to see if it is aggressive or a threat. The campers would return to their campsite the next day and find the site destroyed, presumably by the Sheepsquatch. One other popular sighting occurred in 2015 in the forest of Appalachia in Folks Run, Virginia. 6 people were camping in the woods, and close to midnight, one of the campers would spot the beast. The camper saw the creature at the top of a nearby hill in a crouching position. The camper let his friends know, and as this was happening, the Sheepsquatch stood up and started charging the campers running down the hill. Fortunately for the campers, a river separated the Sheepsquatch from them. As the Sheepsquatch came to the river, it looked for a way to cross. Unable to find a way, the monster walked into the river and began wading through it. As it reached land, off in the distance, a loud howl was heard. Whatever this was, frightened, the Sheepsquatch let out a terrified whimper and ran off from the noise. Some speculate this could have been the Mothman. It is theorized that perhaps Mothman wanted Sheepsquatch to not draw attention to the area. After the white thing left, the campers packed up and left, reporting it to the police. While these accounts are some of the more modern sightings, there's documentation that shows this cryptid might have been around for quite some time. There is indeed some disagreement about when this cryptid originated. Some say 1994, while others point to earlier sightings. One is an account from Frank Cazul in 1929 around Morgan's Ridge, West Virginia. Then, Frank Cazul was working at one of the mines, and one night, after a long day of work, he started to walk home. It was a long walk, being at least 6 miles, so Cazul decided to take a shortcut through Morgan's Ridge. There, he was attacked by, presumably, the Sheepsquatch. He managed to escape and lose the beast. Allegedly, though, Cazul had no injuries from the attack. As the story spread in the community, many would mock Cazul, especially the teenagers. One night, they ran through the village, knocking on the doors and howling in an attempt to scare people. Later, in 1965, a book contained a story referencing the white thing. In 1965, Ruth Ann Musick wrote The Telltale Lilac Bush, which is a collection of West Virginia folklore. One of the stories in the book is titled White Thing, and it tells the story of a woman who ran into the white monster while traveling home from church on horseback. According to the story, the monster charged at the woman, but then retreated back into the trees after she fled on her horse. When she got home, the woman let her horse outside and went inside. The next day, she found her horse slaughtered. It's important to note the book doesn't indicate the monster had horns or resembled a sheep or a goat in any way. Over the years, there's been different theories put forth in regards to what possibly the Sheepsquatch could be. One explanation is that these sightings were bears. While polar bears don't reside in the region, black bears can have white fur. The behavior of the animals in the story seems to mimic bears as well. They are around the same size. Bears do mock charge, and they also stand on their hind legs. In the story with the campers, the Sheepsquatch wasn't afraid of the water, and we know bears are excellent swimmers. Some say the Sheepsquatch lacks credibility since many of the witness reports are different and often contradictory. For example, in the initial story with the young couple, they reported seeing 4 eyes on the monster. There doesn't appear to be names associated with many of the sightings as well. Skeptics will say many of these stories were exaggerations or stories that got out of hand. Still, there's many undocumented sightings from farmers and people in the region the last century. One other theory as well is that these sightings were Bigfoot or another cryptid. Many in the cryptozoology community believe Sheepsquatch sightings were simply cases of mistaken identity and that people saw a white Bigfoot. Despite any solid evidence, There are quite a number of sightings that have occurred in many modern times. The Appalachian Mountains are known for its rugged terrain, and it's easy to imagine that a creature like this could exist somewhere in there. The Sheepsquatch is a popular cryptid, with much intrigue. TV shows have covered the cryptid as well as video games. It's still not nearly as well known as West Virginia's most popular cryptid, the Mothman, though. Many state there could be some sort of connection or link between the two, especially since both have been seen around the TNT area. Could they be coming from another dimension, or somewhere else, is one question that has been posed. There's many who believe these stories are all just folklore. However, there are still many who believe that some sort of massive white creature lurks somewhere in the Appalachian mountain range.